there, folks. Welcome to our run of This Night on the Rooftops, a game of belonging outside belonging about street kids in a uh, magical city, in a fantasy city where magic is fading and the Industrial Revolution is underway. Before we get into things, I wanted to do a quick round of introductions. We'll go clockwise from me, but I am Steven, he, him, and I am playing Alloy, she, her, the demon kid. I am a fae that remade her, that kind of reincarnated herself as a creature of metals and smoke. So I have silvery antlers, metallic eyes, and I am so far very just very happy to find out about things. I made a whole bunch of frog friends last session. I named a very mopey looking one Damien. I named one that kept trying to crawl into my pocket gears. It was I made a lot of friends and named them all. So yeah, if we could go clockwise to introduce Puckett and Tabitha.
Hey there, I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns, and tonight I'll be playing Tabitha Tarantula, whose actual name is Fern Gully Mossbrook. But if you actually use that name, you may find yourself turned into something. Well, I wouldn't turn you into a frog because we like frogs. Probably not a spider either. I like spiders. But anyway, so yeah, my name's Tabitha Tarantula. Please use it. I am someone who was in some of the magical schools around here, but it turns out that they expect things like attendance and payment, and so I started learning magic on my own, and I carry around a little book of sigils that it's strange. They manage to open doors and close doors and keep them closed, and well, yeah, I also rather enjoy stealing things, but only from those who can afford to lose them. So when there's a couple of rich people on a rooftop and they've got like an entire tray of pastries that they're just going to throw away because a drop of rain touched them, which absolutely was not even remotely my fault or doing at all, then we have to liberate those pastries for ourselves. So, and sometimes frogs get involved. But yeah, last time around we rescued an ancient tree and we rescued a bunch of frogs that were only there because I kind of summoned them. And we got a bunch of pastries and some nuts and some fruit. And, we locked off a rooftop garden from the rich people who didn't appreciate it. So, yeah, good times, good times.
All right. Hi, I am Nicholas with he, him pronouns, and I am playing Gears, also he, him pronouns. Gears has been working in the mines down underneath a factory and rescued a small fluffy dog with the help of Alloy. What Gears enjoys doing is creating things. Gears is a tinker talk. Tinker talk, yeah, I said that right. And the some of the odd things that we know about Gears, he can talk neither to dogs nor clock towers. So has a steam powered hat and spent the end of last session fishing from boats that were passing through a waterway, collecting odds and ends with his steam powered hat.
Yes, and this game is hosted through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet, for folks who don't know, is an online gaming community that puts out a regular zine called the Codex, as well as several gaming podcasts. We mostly focus on indie RPGs of the story game and OSR variety, but we even have some D&D on the schedule now. Um, uh, But most importantly, of course, we have the game calendar, which this and many other games are organized through. If you are interested in playing with any of the folks tonight or any of the other people on the gauntlet, feel free to jump on over there through the link below, and you can sign up for some games. The gauntlet, here on the gauntlet, we make use of several safety tools, which I won't go into too much detail now because we have gone over them before, but we'll make use of the X card, which is if you just make an X sign either in chat or on the camera, or just say X card, you can tell us what you want to remove from the fiction, and we will remove it, no questions asked. We also make use of script change, which we make use of sort of editing terminology to help us get a sense of talking about scenes, either to either pause where we'll take a break and talk about what's going on, fast forward which is a signal for us to kind of work out the broad details of what happened in a scene, but then kind of move on to the next thing. Rewind, where we return to sort of retcon something that happened in the fiction, and step by step, where we basically agree this is a scene we want to do, but it could be very problematic. So we want to turn safety tools up to max and regularly check in to make certain that everyone is comfortable. And we are also making use of lines and veils. And on that, if people could take a quick look over at the safety tab, lines are things that we are keeping out of the fiction entirely. Veils are things that we are fine having within the fiction, but we just don't want to see details of. We don't need to see it described. And finally, we have ask first, things that we are fine having in the fiction, but we just want to send out a reminder to folks to check in and make certain that everyone is comfortable when they come up. So if people could take a look at anything you want right now and type an OK into chat when you are happy with where it's at. Cool. And as a reminder to us, we have lines on harm to domestic animals, racism, sexual assault, torture, homophobia, transphobia, intentional infliction of blunt force trauma to the head, and sexism, and a veil on sexual content, and ask first on bullying and harm to children. The lines and veils are a living document, I should remind folks. You are free to make changes to it at any time during the session. I'm not necessarily going to be looking back to this all the time, so if you add something, maybe just type it into chat that you've made a change to the lines and veils, and I'll pop on over there to see what changes have been made. Finally, this is kind of not listed as a safety tool, but I consider it one. We have regular breaks. We'll be taking 2 on the hour, as well as the open door policy. The open door policy is basically that stuff happens in life. You get called away by family. Cats get into mischief, and you need to step away to deal with that. If you can, it's always helpful to kind of drop a line and say like, if and when you expect to be back, but we understand that sometimes that isn't possible, and so there's no pressure to do that if you're unable to. But yes, that takes us through our safety tools, and back into kind of the flow of play. Now, like most belonging outside belonging games, how we sort of frame scenes in this game is not always kind of strictly kind of structured, but there's kind of something that Dream Askew brings up, which you brought up last time, which is kind of idle dreaming, where we kind of think out loud about relationships between characters, scenes we'd like to see, and then kind of dive into to explore something that really interests us. And because we haven't really seen Gears last session because Nicholas had to step away, I would be interested in thinking about like what a kind of interesting scene regarding our Gears might be. I'm wondering if either Gears or Tabitha had a thought there.
I have a thought, but I'd like to hear what Nicholas has to say first, since you weren't here for the end of last session.
I would like you to, if you have a thought, spill it, because I am just kind of absorbing it and getting into the flow. I will take opportunities as I become inspired.
Gotcha. In the wake of last session, since we found that ancient tree and all the frogs were in that pond, I'd like to I'd like to go through the moving in path.
You know, I was just thinking about that as well. I think that it was mentioned. So I don't know what you were thinking about moving in. Um, Someone, I think, well, it must have been Stephen, posted something about moving into the tree or the forest or a garden, and I thought that sounded amazing. I don't know how that's a Gears scene, but it's definitely something. Is
Well,
that what you were thinking, or were you thinking something else?
I was absolutely thinking treehouse,
Yeah.
and I absolutely think that's a Gears scene, because think of all the things that Gears would need to make for us to get access to that treehouse and like
Mm.
secure it and the shutters.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff Gears would be able to create, like say a hook and ladder to get in, that like a self-retracting hook and ladder even.
Ooh, I don't think it's a today's scene, but I think at some point we're going to have to ride around in a hat that has a hook that comes out of it. It's just going to be like small hat, normal size hat, jumbo sized hat.
Let's see.
Um,
What do you
yeah.
think, Steven?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let me bring this up because this, according to the, so I'm just looking at the moving in. So we pick up when, and this is something special that this Night on the Rooftop does that you don't see in many other kind of belonging outside belonging games. It's inspired a little bit by, I think, the rituals from Sleepaway. But there are a number of kind of add-ons to the game that have their own special rules that you can invoke whenever you feel like it in the game, when it feels like you want to see it or it feels fictionally appropriate. So moving in is one of them, and we pick it up when the gang finds a new place to stay, which is this treehouse.
Hmm.
So when we begin moving in, we draw a floor plan of the place, draw a picture of the outside, play out a scene in the room, or write a small poem about how it makes you feel. Is any of the ideas for stuff that could come up here. And I'm just going to add in, because we'll need it here, just a link that is to a drawing page if anybody
Okay.
wants to draw stuff, and we just keep going until it feels like home. And while we are in this house, we can just keep we can besides any of our own moves, we can also use the specific moves associated with moving in, which has their own, if you see there, growth, chill, and desperate moves, which you can spend and gain tokens on.
Okay.
So I'd like to start the picture with two spheres, two circles, for branches that are running through the house. I think we're building this right above some split in the trunk.
That was actually my first question. Are we building this, or does it already exist? And
Oh,
I was going to say we need to build it.
I think we do. I think you
Yeah.
guys told Gears about that tree, and he's been scribbling away on paper for like all night long.
Yeah.
And it's morning where it's like, guys, this is it. This is what the treehouse looks like.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense, because considering this tree is one of the old trees, like it's at least somewhat sentient, we would have like not wanted to do anything to hurt it. So this is probably trying to be done without nails and things like that, using natural, just like notches in wood to fit things together and that sort of thing.
Yeah, which is exactly why we're doing this right where that other branch takes off to the left and then juts up, is so that the frame can be built around the tree without like actually impacting the tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So those two circles are the tree trunks that we're building around, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Now, with Gears directing, do you think we're going to have like uneven boards, or do you think all the boards are going to be more or less the same size?
I think that I have a collection of things that are all different shapes and sizes.
Okay.
So based upon my toolbox, I would love to have it uniform, but based upon the material at our disposal, it's going to be ramshackle.
I like the idea that among the things is just a really like, and I'm just kind of picking up one of the growth news here, which is to describe a part of the place that could use a fix up. That like we have managed to get a hold of like a big broken down like riverboat
Yes.
that like is full of holes that like we are trying to like winch up to like put into the tree.
The holes line up perfectly. Look at that. You can just slot it in on the left, and you're going to have this giant riverboat. Like, how do I draw some lines? Let's get some lines going on this.
What do we do about like the hull of this riverboat?
Check this out. Check this out. I got this.
Oh God. Did we just cut the rest away?
No, this is how it was reclaimed. I don't know what sort of side impact it took, but yeah, maybe we had to spruce it up a little bit, get that nice round going. But it had this massive side impact. Delete that guy. Oh, how do I delete?
Could always just do Control Z.
Cut will do it. This might be more boat than you were thinking.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but I kind of like the idea that it is just and then I think I've got like some boards that I'm going to fill in this area with so that you got like a little plank going there and a plank going there that you can walk across. I feel good about that. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's more than I was expecting, so yeah.
Is that actual Tabitha's response when?
I mean, I think Tabitha's response actually is, it's more than I was thinking about. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Is there any way to make these lines join up?
Good question. Let's go with the little pointery guy and see. Zoom in. I don't know. I can see like this one has the two dots that have a single point, but they are not acting like they are joined. These do not have.
I think I like the idea that at some point, while Gears is working on this, that Alloy is just starts like shouting down, Gears, Gears, you have to come up here and see this. And I am just like, I have managed to climb up this tree to like one of the very highest branches.
Up there?
Yeah, it's not as hard as it looks.
Translation: it's at least 3 times as hard as it looks.
Right. It's not
And
as
there's like
hard as it looks. It's
a
harder.
little like rough. And I'm just like, Scraps could do it, and he's up here with me.
Oh my god. How did she get Scraps up there? All right.
I think I got stuff lined up here.
Yeah. At least you don't have the overlap now. I think I'm just going to let that chatter in the background while I keep furiously engineering and building.
Right.
I think I've got quite the pulley system going right now as you're calling from above, and it's like, no, I can't right now, as the boat's like swinging and teetering on its way up.
Oh, can you make it like swing like once it's on? That'll be really neat. It'll be like we're actually at sea.
Are you beginning to regret this idea?
No, that's a great idea.
Yes, we can be tree pirates. Tree pirates.
Yeah,
And
that's
I just like
idea.
you just see me and I just like leap down from the highest branch and like fall out in a roll in front of you, and then I like sprawl out on my back, and just like within the curl, just like Scraps pops out. Like I was just like curled around Scraps as I did this roll.
I throw you a rope and say, pull.
No, too much climbing. I'm tired. Scraps, I assume, like picks up the rope and kind of tugs on it a little bit.
Absolutely.
You can probably hear your scraps growling a little.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like the idea of having like some part of this be like a patio.
Yeah, I was trying to think. So I think it's like totally exposed on the left-hand side. So I was imagining the area between the two tree trunks being kind of like open patio, exposed 365 degrees. And maybe we put like a kitchen table there, and that's like kind of the nexus of the treehouse.
Okay, do we have a roof on, and do we have any walls up anywhere?
On the left-hand side, I think that there is the remnants of the roof and walls.
So like over here, or I'm mousing.
I don't know that I see the mouse. Let me zoom out.
You'll have to, I think, hold down, I think.
Hold
or
on
like
a second.
double tap. I forget how you do it on this.
I just saw that that green bar right there. I'm thinking that, yeah, let's actually make maybe there's got to be color to these lines, right? We can probably give them some line weight. Yeah. These lines, these are the ones that have some shelter.
Okay. So you think it's closed off that on that side?
Right. And I'm going to put, and I think that, can I do a dotted line? I'd love a dotted line. I'm going to do a line and we'll see if it can turn out dotted or not. I think something like that, if I can make that dotted, is where the shelter ends. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh.
So you're thinking that dotted line right there is no shelter?
Yeah, no shelter away from the thick line, right? And so you've got this beautiful little outdoor patio thing going on right in the middle. And hopefully it doesn't rain too much.
Okay. So here's a thought. Why don't we start labeling areas?
Yeah.
Like sleeping, kitchen, etc. Do you think we each have our own like separate room, or do you think we're like bunk beds or wait a minute. Hammocks.
Oh, definitely some hammocks. I think that there might even be like a second story thing going on where there's maybe, what do you call the section of a boat where that big round steering wheel is? I think there's
Pilot
probably
house?
I think there's probably one of those happening towards the back of this half remaining. And then obviously this main floor.
So just to be clear, the dotted line is a wall.
No, that is like coverage, right, from the elements. So my thought is that is like a roof or the beginning of maybe a second story, and the thick line is a wall, and we're looking down at this, right? This is like a
Right, top-down view.
top down, and so frogs, a whole room full of frogs. That's perfect. And so you have coverage from the elements kind of down and to the left, and exposure to the elements, but panoramic views up and to the right.
It probably had another purpose before, but then Alloy just like carried up all the frogs that she had made friends with.
I think
last
that's
time.
frogs and dogs. That's where they hang
Yeah.
out.
All right, I'm going to bring the tree trunks to the front again to make sure we keep those like we have an idea of where they are in relation to everything else. So that's a roof. You know what?
Come on, how do I move this thing? This is our dining area. Dining.
That's exposed to elements.
It is.
Do we want to actually have it there?
I could be talked out of it.
And are you Stephen? Are you saying that that little bit right there is where you keep frogs?
It's not so much where we keep frogs, it's the part of the ship I assume that we have surrendered to the frogs. They're probably throughout the rest of the ship as well.
I mean, you realize there is a pond beneath us, right?
But how could you say no to this face, Tabitha? And I just kind of hold up a little frog Damien's frowny face at you.
Because it needs water.
Plus, I'm pretty certain Frog Gears has already like stolen like one of your necklaces and won't give it back until you say you're okay with it.
I'll steal another necklace. I mean, I stole that one.
Okay. I kind of look down. I kind of look down at the frog and look out at the pond. Okay, we'll put some of the frogs back into the pond.
So what I would like to do, if it's okay with folks, is maybe change up this dotted line a little bit so we have a sheltered area.
Wait. Tabitha, look at this. And I push a button, and like you've seen on the sides of RVs where like the little coverage can retract.
Right.
I've I'm going to create one of those. It's right here in the sketch. But you are welcome to move the line if you would like.
I just, Tabitha, I just, I mean, if I'm already friends with all these frogs, and it's like, if somebody asked me to leave you in a pond, I wouldn't, because we're friends, and I wouldn't just leave you there. I would take you with me and put you in your own room in our boat. If there were a lot of you, I would put you in many rooms.
I would hope that you would first pay attention to what kind of living environment I needed. So that, for example, you weren't taking me out of an environment where I could survive and putting me in one where I couldn't.
Oh man, I mean, I feel like you're just inviting Alloy to like start carrying buckets up all over the ship.
So what I'm looking at with that is like this area that we have so far with the solid lines inside has both some shelter on each side as well as a roof. So if it's under a solid line, if it's an area that is contained within a solid line, there is shelter and a doorway. So the big table is outside. Let me draw a dotted line there just to really kind of hammer that point home. Where the heck did the line tools go? Oh well. I'll just this one. Oops.
Let's see.
I think at some point, you see that Alloy has gone off with the frogs and kind of tearing up a little bit, just sort of lies down in the pond with them.
Alrighty.
And just lies there for a while.
What more could Gears want? I got a bedroll, a pile of stuff, and a plank that leads to the big table. Oh, a kitchen, right? Is that the pond down below, or?
It is.
Yeah. I like that. There's a diving opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kind of get it a little out. Okay, so there. Yeah, you can pretty much jump right from the big table in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's at that point that as you are all finishing on this work, and Alloy comes in sopping wet and gives each of you a very tearful, sopping wet hug. I'm I'm sorry, Tabitha and Gears. I know that we are such close friends, but Tabitha is right. We can't be friends forever, and I need to be released to my natural environment, which
What are
I
you
don't think is.
talking about? Well,
It's just I'm pretty certain, Tabitha, you said that you didn't want to be friends anymore. That I needed to go away because I needed to find a place where I was supposed to be.
Alloy, what are you talking about?
Well, when I brought all the frogs into the boat, you said that everyone needed to. You said that you wouldn't want to keep a friend who wasn't supposed to be where you were. And this isn't my house. This is the house. This is Gear's house, isn't it? I need to
no,
go
this
somewhere
is
else.
This is
this
our
is
house.
exactly. I thought you I thought you were gonna let's stay with the frogs. I thought that was your room.
No, but Tabitha said that there shouldn't be a frog room.
That's right. It's your room, and it just has all the frogs. You like the frogs, right?
Can the frogs? And I look at Tabitha. Can the frogs have a sleepover?
And I'll just look down below at the pond, and I'll look over at you again and say, Gears, can you rig up some kind of pulley system for buckets?
On it. Right after I finish with this giant balloon that I gotta build.
You know, I'd ask why you're doing that, but I'm not gonna.
I give you another like sopping wet hug, Tabitha. I'm glad we can still be friends, Tabitha. I have to let you know I wasn't actually okay with you sending me away.
I wasn't going to send you away, Alloy. This is
But what about that? You need to let go of your friends and let them go to somewhere where they can exist.
Alloy. All I meant was that you see that pond down there? The one right below the treehouse?
Mm-hmm.
Frogs need water to survive. I wasn't saying you can't be friends with them or you can't visit them or spend time with them. Just that they need to go back to that place so that they can how to put this? So they can sleep. That's where frogs sleep. That's their bed.
I see. And so the two of us, I can still spend time with you and be friends with you.
Of course.
Good. And I kind of look down. I like take your hand in mine, and then I look down at the pond. You know what? We should go tell the frogs. And then I like jump off, still holding your hand in mine.
Cannonball.
So Are you doing a move here?
No, I am just like this is in no way. This is just me role playing.
Okay. Um,
If you would like to make a move, feel free. But I am just trying to aim for my desire to find a new family, which I think I've managed here in that conversation.
I think I built a present for someone else. Well, and me. That's the only thing.
the pulley system with the buckets,
Oh yeah, that is for someone else. I have no use of those buckets.
right? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and like follow you. And I sincerely hope the pond is deep enough or muddy enough at the bottom that we survive. But it's probably not falling that far, like 10, 20 feet.
Oh, it's plenty muddy, and I come out, and we're both covered in mud.
So I'm going to summon a gentle cleaning rain to wash the mud off of both of us at this point.
Now, I wanted to ask, is this reflective of your actual mood is the thing?
Yeah, because like
Okay.
one, I'm muddy, and two, I'm pretty happy. So this is very much a cleansing, peaceful rain that's just chilling us out a little bit because it's like I feel like you could probably use a little bit of that reassurance of a nice, soft, gentle rain that you can just hear pitter pattering on things, on the leaves of the tree, in the pond, the frogs ribbiting. And then switching back over to paths. I am going to spend a token to fortify the place. Or Gears, do you want to handle that?
I am installing a rapid inflatable escape balloon on the side of our. So go for it. Fortify.
Okay. So let's see. I think the entrance is already secured because that's basically like a self-retracting thing, isn't it, Gears?
Yeah. It's right past the big table. Actually, no. Let me mark it on the map just for our future reference.
Okay.
Ladder, right? It's just a ladder.
But is it retractable or what?
Oh yeah, you pull it up. It's like yeah.
So do we leave it down when we go out?
No, I've got a button for that.
Okay. Is it on your hat?
It is.
Do we all get hats as a result of this?
No, you have to push this button right here. Do you need a hat?
I mean, I think we all need to have a way to get into it if you're not with us or
yeah.
or if nobody's at the hideout.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can make you a matching hat.
Do we think that the tree might actually handle that for us?
You'll have to talk to the tree about that.
All righty. Let me see, because I wonder, what do we think would be able to? How do you think we would best communicate with the tree? Do you think it'd be through an aquatic animal, or if I turned myself into an animal?
I guess that depends on you are the gutter witch. I guess how do you go set about like speaking with trees? Because it's not always that they necessarily will respond. Like everything can be spoken to, but they won't necessarily respond with like a voice.
I feel like this is actually a David thing. Like, because this was, we found the magic of the tired god near it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe I have to wait for next time. Maybe this gives Damien a couple of things to do. Plus, Damien has to settle in and put stuff around and that sort of thing. Also, is this linked to, is the treehouse map linked to in the character keeper?
I was about to add it once I turned off the screen.
Gotcha.
Actually, I can just add this link here to the keeper. Just copy link address and I'll just pop it in here underneath the path.
So I think the way that I said about fortifying the tree then is that it's less about fortifying the tree and or less about fortifying our tree house and more about fortifying the tree. And making sure the tree is secure just in case.
How do you go about doing that out of curiosity?
Oh, that's a good question. I think what I do is set about creating a bunch of little, I'd call them traps, but that's not quite the word. Alerts, maybe, where anybody tripping one of them will basically cause a sudden rainstorm. So it's something that won't hurt the tree, but it'll alert us. So they're kind of like little tripwires, in the sense that, and you see doing some unusual stuff down on the ground at the entrances to the park. And the point there is that anyone entering this park with the intention of harming us or the tree will set off one of these. Well, basically, it's an angry thunderstorm.
Cool.
Okay, so there's the thunderstorm, and there are also these like tripwires. You said.
Yeah, if somebody like crosses over one of those lines with ill intent toward us or the tree, it'll trigger like out of nowhere this really angry thunderstorm right over their head. It'll soak them. Lightning will splash that will hit near them. It's not going to hit them. And because things will be so soaked, it's not going to start a fire. But it is very much intended to just scare the hell out of them and convince them to leave immediately. Just like, thunderstorms out of nowhere.
Okay.
And I will reduce my token count by 1. And then, just because we've been doing so much with this, I am going to do the growth move, pass out from exhaustion. So who takes care of me while I'm out or while I'm asleep? I mean, I think I make it back to the treehouse and make it back up the ladder and take a few steps and just stumble fall and start snoozing.
Yeah, I think I was probably sitting at the big table working on the robo bucket when you collapse like that, and I will slump you over my shoulder and take you back to your hammock and lie you down.
Are you worried about this?
Someone getting exhausted? No, I think
Okay.
you'll rest it off.
Okay.
Should I be worried about this?
Not that I can think of. Just
Okay.
it's I didn't know if that was the sort of thing that would concern Gears.
I mean, we've done a lot today, so seeing someone collapse from exhaustion, I think, seems about right.
Right. Okay. God, when
I mean,
David gets back, he's just going to be.
Oh. There's lots of Z's in my robo bucket. There we go.
What?
And I think that as like the evening draws on, is Gears still like busy at work? Has like Gears actually taken a break?
No, he's been going. This is a big day. There's lots to be done. The big table is the best thing to happen to Gears in ages. That is like, there is no shortage. You think the pile of stuff is over near Gears' bedroll. Most of it's actually on the big table right now.
Right. How do we feel about having the big table that open? Do we want to have like kind of some coverage there, or?
I like it, but it's not only my table.
What does Alloy think about that? I mean, squirrels could like drop nuts into our food.
I mean, yeah,
while
that
we're
was
eating.
basically Alloy's thought. Like, it just means we can have friends over more easily.
Okay.
Because I do just like the idea that Gears, as you're like working on this, there's like a little like tinkling as something like clonks on like, are you wearing your hat at the moment?
I think it's on the table next to me. And I am working on the arm that comes out of it, just kind of fine-tuning that mechanical component as I eyeball the ladder and say, yeah, this will work for the ladder.
Yeah, I think that there is like a little clunk of like, and you look down and it's like a little bolt has fallen down onto your head and like is skittering across the table.
Snatch it immediately, stare at it. You said a bolt, right?
Yeah.
And then look up for where that would have come from.
And I think you see that there is a little squirrel that has gotten caught in your line of sight. And you and the squirrel lock eyes for a moment, and you see that it is carrying in like one under one of its little paws, just a little like several bolts and screws from around your workstation.
And
then it goes scurrying off.
I jump up, exclaiming, "My bolts!" and climb to the top of the tree in pursuit. This causes any hesitation that I had is out the window. I am racing that squirrel. I think it gets away with it, but it's like I could have made it up here anytime I wanted to, but needed the proper motivation. And it's like, hey guys, how do I get down?
Oh, I just followed Scrap's lead. Sorry.
And I spend the rest of the night shivering at the top of the tree.
Scrap's trying to bark instructions up at you.
Yep. Tabitha, what do you think of this this umbrella I installed? Push the button.
How high up does it spring before it opens? And how big is it?
Yeah. It is probably about 16 feet across.
Okay.
And it literally launches from the center of the table, springs open, and settles down into the hole that it launched from.
Wait, so it levitates above the table?
It does. It's on a tether.
Okay.
If you look really close, you can see the tether.
Okay. I think I'm just delighted by that. Like I'm probably like laughing and jumping up and down and clapping.
Cool.
And then we've got the little red line as our defensive perimeter to let us know when. And Alloy, you'll notice that the frogs and the pond are both covered by that protective line.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't read it very well, but there is a circle that connects the boat to the water, and it is a robo bucket.
Yep. What is it? Is there some kind of pressure pad or something like that that makes the bucket drop when the frogs want to come up and visit Alloy?
I think that there is a control panel. See, the umbrella should have had like variable controls. For some reason, the bucket gets like this control panel with 3 sticks that you adjust, and a grippy button on each stick and a top button on each stick.
Okay.
And I've shown you like 3 times. No. This is the sequence. Pay close attention.
So luckily, one of my chill moves is being able to talk to aquatic animals.
Good.
And so I will carefully and patiently explain to each one of the frogs how this bucket works when they want to come see Alloy. I'll wonder why there wasn't this much tech in our umbrella. But, Gears does things in occasionally unusual ways. So, it happens.
I like the coloring on the rapid inflatable escape balloon, whoever made it red and yellow.
I did, because it felt like what I'm kind of imagining is like, one of those hot air balloons, but it has like gold thread, like, gold netting over it so that it's attached to the basket. And like a nice big bright red balloon, because that felt like the sort of thing that Gears would probably want. That or some sort of patchwork quilt.
Yeah, I think it's definitely red with gold thread. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm just going full on Jules Verne with it.
Cool.
Also, I'd like to point out that I think we've been like drawing a treehouse in a shared drawing application for like an hour or so, and I don't feel even the slightest bit bored.
I will say that the first game I played on the Gauntlet, I'm just going to skip past that one. The second and third game, Dan Brown ran both of them. And he was into this shared map building thing at the time.
Was it City of Whispers?
It was City of Whispers, and it was Gamma World before that, or World of Gamma.
Okay.
and one more after that Stephen and I were in, I
Yeah.
think. Maybe all three of us were in. I don't remember. Yeah, and every time it was a blast. And this was very reminiscent of that, where it's like,
Wait, were you in the? Was your second game on the Gauntlet the one where Jane was drawing the maps that just blew all of us away?
yeah, yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I
God,
think
that was.
this just reinforces that collective map drawing is a good time.
Right?
Yeah.
Or something that like doesn't require necessarily like super strict role playing or something along those lines.
Yeah, but look at the tree fort that we have after that. It's amazing.
Right? I mean, we've got a kitchen, we've got an air tank. I made that gray because I figured it'd be made out of metal.
Yep. And you'll notice how large it is, right? That is a
Well,
behemoth of an air tank.
yeah, well, and that's a behemoth of a balloon.
It is.
I mean, it's as. I mean, so let me ask you this: is that intended to actually launch the entire treehouse out of the tree?
That, my good friend, let me tell you, it says air tank. It is a lighter than air tank.
So it's helium or
It's
something like that.
helium. And so you attach this here strap to yourself before you pull that lever.
Okay, so I'm just going to say I don't know what it does or how it works, and you figured it out. And I will pay very careful attention to where that strap is.
Yep, it's under the kitchen counter.
What about the frogs?
Oh man, no, we're gonna need more tethers.
Is this, out of curiosity, is just the continuing work on this idea of yours, has this drawn us all to the markets in order to like buy more supplies?
to buy tethers
Excuse me.
for frogs and little frog harnesses.
Did I actually?
I didn't know. I don't know what, if we're buying them, if we're trading for them, if we're stealing them. I'm just wondering if we're at the markets at some point.
Have I shown you fishing for supplies? It's great.
You know what? I feel like that's something that maybe you and Alloy should do. Because Alloy wants to learn about everything, and that feels like somebody needs to pick up the probably the canals playbook. Is that because, are you thinking about fishing over the rivers? Are you thinking about fishing in the markets?
Over the markets.
Okay.
Down into the stalls.
Alrighty. In that case, we may need to juggle it because I feel like I'm probably wandering through and I'm looking for stuff. And I probably have that hat that you made for me, but
I would like to say that when I made your hat, I enacted the startup project. So I have a clock that has 4 slots and will never be finished. So every time you look at the hat, you're like, yeah, I can see where he started to do that thing, but it's not good.
Did it include any kind of ability for us to talk remotely?
Yeah, I want to say if we're at the markets, the Alloy is just so excited by everything. Like, she's just picking up and touching everything. Like, she is getting soot on every passing merchant's wares. Like, ooh, look at these dresses, and I like pick them up and just leave long black like smear marks on them.
I have just a simple question for Tabitha.
Sure.
One direction's working. Either you can hear me or I can hear you. Which one is it?
I think that I would need to hear you because you'd probably be telling me what you need and what I need to steal.
Yeah. And actually, I'm telling you, keep her down there. Alloy is the perfect distraction. Have her head over to this stall right here. As soon as she does that soot thing, we'll get everything that we need.
Okay. And I will call Alloy over and I'll whisper the plan to you.
Oh, okay. I just like I walk up to the stall. I'm like, wow. And what kind of stall is this?
So what we need to do is we need to make little harnesses for the frogs that we can attach to tethers. So we are at a stall that is going to have the material components for frog harnesses and tethers.
Oh, Mister, have you ever made frog harnesses? I have a lot of frog friends, and like my other friend Gears has this idea of making a lot of little harnesses for them, and I've just it's been a real pickle because like you can't just put little strings on them because that would hurt them. And so do you make frog harnesses, I guess is what I'm asking.
What the hell are you talking
I don't know what this pastry is, but it is really good. You want a bite? And I just hold up this half-eaten pastry that I just somehow has ended up in my hand somehow.
And it's in the background of this scene with like the perplexed vendor just staring at you in bewilderment, that you see a little hat creeping down in the background with these little arms like just kind of doing their grabbing motion as they come down closer and closer to I'm imagining that this person sells like ropes and some sort of sail material, and it just grabs onto a big old wad of rope, and then you hear bum, 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 whatever the motory sound is as it goes reeling up with a big old wad of ropes that I'm gonna disassemble to make all those things.
But yeah,
I think it puffs out a bunch of black smoke
how is
as
this vendor
well.
responding to Alloy's?
Where do you come from?
He yells up.
um
Oh, Alloy, yes.
well, there's this there's this really neat tree. Like I wasn't like
No, I don't. Do you come from another city? The things you're talking about, I don't understand, and so I'm trying to figure out if maybe it's just something about where you're from that makes you sound.
Oh no. These are all local frogs.
Where do you come from? You. And he pokes you.
I came from over that way, and I just kind of point out from the way I walked up to him from.
Right. Move along to stop wasting my time.
The hat has descended and ascended like 4 times in that time. And he turns around and like one of his stalls is just wiped out.
Yeah, I just kind of give this like awkward shrug and go like, well, okay, I guess I'll just go back to where I came from, I guess. And I like take 5 steps away and then just kind of stand there for a moment because I'm where I'm from.
Yep.
Should I go somewhere after this?
Are you asking the vendor?
Yes.
So, I wonder. Let's see. Okay. So, at this point, a woman dressed in silk whispers to you, "Come with me. I might have something for you."
I mean, and I have, as a growth move, give someone my trust. And I'm just like, oh, really? And okay. I just immediately like take her hand and like go walking off with her.
So, Gears, do you see this?
People in this market are so friendly.
Actually, as soon as I had the material components, I was going to do the growth mood move, take some time for yourself, and start writing up operational procedures for the frogs about how to put on the harness, how to connect the harness. So no, I don't.
Okay. And I'm inclined to say that Tabitha is probably off stealing something. Whether she needs it or whether it's just pretty, who can say? So, Alloy, this woman immediately leads you into an alley. A dark alley. There's like thatch, on like some sort of thatch roof covering it. There aren't many doors. You're going farther and farther away from the market.
Oh, well, I appreciate showing me this really nice alleyway, miss, but I actually had some friends back in market that I should probably let know.
It is fine. It is fine. Follow me.
I shrug because I guess, yeah, if she says it's fine.
I mean, you're listening and being absolutely literal with everybody else. Why not her, right?
Yeah. Like, it seemed a little bit weird, but I guess if this nice lady says it's fine.
So you start twisting and turning through alleys. There's a left turn here, a right turn there. It's getting a little bit confusing. And then you emerge into this small plaza with a gently bubbling fountain and the sound of songbirds chirping.
How big a fountain is, like, when you say a bubbling fountain, is this like a bird fountain or like a human fountain?
Yes, it is a human crafted fountain made of tile, like little bits of tile that you can tell have been laid in, and there's actually water bubbling out of the top of it and birds bathing in it, in addition to birds hanging, like kind of sitting in plants in the area. There are flowers hanging and you can see bees buzzing back and forth from them. The smell of honey's in the air.
Oh, wow, miss. I didn't know this was here.
Not many people do. I only bring those who seem like they can be trusted here.
Oh. Well, I'm glad that I'm someone you can trust, miss, but I hadn't even introduced myself yet.
You didn't need to. From listening and observing, I know. I may not know exactly who you are, but I know what you are and where you come from. And that is why I think you might be interested in this. And she opens a door, and you hear some latches inside. And the front, like the top half of this wall in front of you, flaps down kind of loudly. And you see that she has an incense stall. There's candles there. You can smell jasmine, lotus. Can smell cinnamon even. She says, I make things that make where someone lives more pleasing. Whether it's a smell, whether it's light, whether it's sound. No one else makes these things.
Um, yeah, I think Alloy looks down and says like, "Oh, wow, I didn't think that there was anyone else in the city that cared about how smoke smelled as much as I do."
You can smell pleasing. You can make it smell acrid and bitter. The way smoke smells can tell you a great deal about what it is, where it comes from, what it's meant to do.
Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna spend a token here, and I think like as Alloy is standing there, like I think like you can almost see this like faint red glow from underneath her skin,
Mm-hmm.
and like little spirals of smoke start like slowly streaming off of her because I'm shrouding myself in ash and smoky darkness. And I I look at you and say, I I don't really understand a lot about what that fella back of the market was going on about, but it was something I was thinking about every now and then. Not so much where I came from, because like my great grandma was a tree, so I basically know that. But what am I meant to do? Can you tell from the way my smoke smells?
And she pauses, and she comes back out the door that she went in, and she approaches you and she says, "May I?" And she holds her hands up like she's asking permission to touch you.
Oh, I nod.
And you can see her draw a line in the soot on you. And she holds it up to her nose and rubs a line of soot under her nose and inhales deeply. And then she leans into you and smells you, not just your soot. She pauses for a moment. It says, "You smell like a protector. You smell like the choice to defend smaller things when they can't or aren't able to defend themselves, when something's bigger than they are."
Hmm. I mean, I think I'm gonna return to my chill mood because I think after several moments, Alloy just kind of like draws like a shape in the dirt with like the toe of one of her feet, trying to think on that. And then it's just a little bit too much for Alloy to like entirely like take in right now. And I think she kind of gives like a little shrug
Mm-hmm.
and says, "Thanks, miss. I'm gonna think on that." And then like I just suddenly like leap forward and like give her a hug and then say, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go and play in that fountain now. And then I like run off and like just jump into the fountain and like start kicking water around.
I kind of want to know what Gears is up to at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you hear it on your hat, actually. Psst, psst. Hey, Tabitha, What language do they speak anyway, the frogs? If I write instructions like that I can read, can they read it? Oh wait, am I on mute?
Gears has completely forgotten that the hat only goes one way, hasn't he?
Oh yeah. Apparently so has yeah, exactly. Gears has forgotten. So you're hearing a long monologue about like the how this instruction manual is going to be structured, and a lot of questions. He keeps being like, "Man, you're pretty quiet today, aren't you?"
So how's your fishing going?
Oh, I have returned to the ship actually,
Oh, okay.
and I am sitting at the big table. I am meticulously cutting and stitching these little harnesses, and that's what I'm doing while talking to you through the hat.
Yeah, I think it's again then that like you hear a little tinkling, and this time it's one of your pieces of like what do you like write and draw with?
Oh man.
Like do they use pencils? Is it charcoals? Is it something like that?
I think it's a fountain pen that I've created kind of like a windable watch mechanism that you can see it ticking down, and I've timed it perfectly so that after I'm done with like 2 minutes of drawing and writing, I can put it in the fountain. It automatically fills itself up, and then I wind it 3 times and continue.
Yeah. I think does it have like a little like mechanism that like makes the little like bring like does it make like a little ring when like it's like the 2 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
like
try to catch it before the alarm goes off. It's literally like two little bells on there, and you get the
yeah, I think there's another little ring and like a
ding.
squeak, and then like your pen, you see your pen rolling out across the floor from your work table.
And it's like, I know what this is. I look up the tree again, expecting to see the same squirrel chipmunk thing, and I'm sure I see it.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think you see it,
tell the
but
hat, of course, because Tabitha is my best friend and
yes.
is always present in the hat now. Tabitha, we've got a problem here with these chipmunks. I'll be right back. And sorry, what do I see it do?
Like I think you were actually seeing it like it was actually like drawing onto one of your designs.
That's fascinating. If it's actually drawing, I've never been able to communicate with frogs or with chipmunks. Um, I'm gonna watch what it draws. Is it anything that I can make sense out of?
Oh yeah, it's correcting math errors you made.
I'm gonna grab the pen from it very abruptly and shoo it away and cross out its corrections and then ponder over it and probably add the same corrections back. And that does feel like a take time for yourself growth move. What did I miss? Obviously, I missed the fact that chipmunks are much better at math than I ever realized.
Technically, it's a squirrel. Chipmunks are ground creatures.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
squirrels.
And I think you hear this like from the ladder as Tabitha finally shows up.
Yeah, and I am saying that out loud. Oh my goodness, chipmunks are much better at math than I realized.
Yes.
Technically, it's a squirrel.
Also, your hat only goes one way. You can
Oh,
talk to
right.
me.
Right. I was going to finish that. Let me see it.
And I'll toss it over to you.
When you find it tomorrow, it's still not finished.
Does it have two-way communication?
No, but it has this really cool chimney that is connected to a small furnace on the inside.
Wait, it has a what?
A chimney connected to a small furnace.
Which does what?
It burns right now. You can see a spoke coming out of it that spins, and you're sure that that needs to get connected to something, but the something isn't there.
So I now have a furnace and chimney in my hat, which have no clear purpose.
Correct. This is a abandoned project that I will never complete. I'm sorry. It's my chill move.
Gears, would you like me to go talk to this to the squirrel for you? Because and I kind of gesture your plans and say,
actually, no. This is it's fine. The squirrel's good. I like the squirrel.
No. I'm not saying like
Don't
chase it off.
off.
No. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just asking, would you maybe like some help since it seems like it's better at math than you are?
No, what I need help with is this right here. And I take you over to the instruction manual that I expect every frog to read about how to put on the harness when instructed to do so.
How long is it?
It's 12 pages.
You want me to translate this to the frogs?
Yes, they need to know.
This is an alloy thing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no, we've got to protect her frogs.
And the bucket is insufficient. This is for like if we have to hit and I just toward the balloon.
Right. When we put on the tether, the frogs need to know that it's time.
Do you have any kind of warning system? Like, when we pull the tethers out, is it automatically going to drop a sign to the frogs saying, put your tethers on?
Red lights, they go everywhere.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't something that you'd overlooked, like me being able to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll double check the red lights.
You're not going to double check the red lights, are you?
What? What red lights?
Here's focus for a moment.
Focus.
You know these frogs are really important to Alloy.
Yes.
So if we're at a point where we need to, yank that pull lever in case of emergency lever and attach the straps and tethers that are in the kitchen counter, we need a sign for the frogs that they also need to do that.
Right. I am going to spend a token to fixate on this project so that it gets done.
Okay. And I'll pat you on the shoulder and say, thank you. This is something that really matters to Alloy. I'll try to communicate how to put the tethers on to the frogs. Do you have any of the tethers that are actually already assembled?
The prototype's on the table right now. I say as I'm yanking on one of our tethers, and no red lights are going on, and I am gonna have to fix this.
Okay. So I'll shrug. Alloy, what's one of the stranger frog names that you came up with?
Oh, I can't think of a strange name. I guess we'll go with Humphrey.
Okay. So I'll hop down the ladder and I will ribbit at Humphrey as the frog that I have the best rapport with, slash the one that I think is most likely to understand what I'm saying and can translate it to the rest of the frogs in a better frog language than the one that I speak. And I gesture to the tether and I start explaining it to Humphrey and, you know, showing Humphrey how to step into it and how to put it on.
The red light goes on at like the perfect time as you're describing what that sign is going to be. Just like blam, 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 it's on and then it's off.
Yeah,
I
and
said,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
please.
I was actually forgetting. Where did you? Because like for the gutter witch,
Mhm.
it implies that like you picked your name from like a book somewhere. I was wondering where you got the idea for Tabitha Tarantula.
Hmm.
Well, that actually, if I remember correctly, was my actual name, which was
Oh,
Ferngully Mossbrook. Which, who in the hell would keep that name if they didn't have to?
oh, okay.
So yeah, this is a name that I chose for myself because one, it's alliterative. Two, tarantulas are big, scary spiders, even though they're total sweethearts, but people don't like them because they're spiders and they kind of look gross to a lot of people. And the Tabitha part, just I like tabby cats,
Okay.
so I just kind of extended that out. It's like, oh, Tabitha, you know, short, you shorten that. That's Tabby. That's the kind of cat I like. So Tabitha Tarantula,
Okay. I just
something
was
cute, something creepy.
I was just forgetting that. Thank you. Um yeah, I think that as you're putting this little uh this little harness onto Humphrey. Oh, well, thank you, dear. I was feeling a bit underdressed.
Well,
Does this come in any other colors? I do think a nice maroon really sets off my skin tones, don't you think?
Humphrey, you're absolutely right. A nice maroon would set off the shade of your skin quite nicely. It'd be very handsome, very fetching. Let me let me ask about this. I don't think Gears has necessarily thought much about the aesthetics of
No.
our escape devices and safety devices, but I will look into this. But as it is, we're trying to make sure that we have harnesses for all of you, so that if we ever need to, you know, fly, you can all come with us and you can stay with Alloy.
Wonderful, wonderful. You aren't planning on doing this before tonight, are you?
Hopefully, we never have to do this. I just want you to. I want you and the other frogs to be aware and to know what to do. That's all. It's
Wonderful,
hopefully this
wonderful. Because me and the other frogs, we're going to be going out to a rather interesting concert going on this evening that, well, none of us want to miss.
is this only for frogs or can humans come or humanoids or larger non-frog beings?
Oh, hmm, hmm. It is rather, hmm, a little bit difficult to bring just any human along, but perhaps if your friends, I don't know, were to dress themselves up as frogs or something like that, I could imagine that working. It is a frog sort of event.
Humphrey, you dear kind soul, you do realize that if I put Alloy or Gears or even myself into a frog outfit or frog costume, we would be quite a bit larger than any other frog there.
Oh, that is a wonderful point. Oh, well, I suppose if you were to just squat down, that you'd become you'd appear much shorter.
We would still. Let me show you. And I will crouch down in the mud as close to a frog-like position as a
What?
human can get.
Tabitha, where have you gone? You've been replaced by this rather squat frog sitting before me. And he gives you a wink.
Humphrey, you do see the difference in size between us.
I suppose, but I mean, you are so much smaller than the other humans around you, yet none of them think that you are a frog.
How do I even know that we can get into this place? I mean, what if the entrance is for frog-sized frogs as opposed to human-sized frogs?
What? Those holes don't have the kind of acoustics that the Frog King likes to play to. If he'll be putting on some of his best bits. I ain't nothing but a bullfrog.
Oh yes, I recall hearing that one. That was well, quite a foot tapper, I suppose, or the equivalent if you have webbed feet.
Water Flume Rock, all of the classics that he's known for.
I see. Humphrey, I'll see what I can do about finding a frog costume, at least for Alloy, but this may be one of those times when it would make more sense for beings of our size to let you have something for yourselves so we don't stomp around being large and noisy and inadvertently destructive and make something that sounds quite exciting for you into something that is rather a disaster.
Oh, I do not think that you are loud and noisy and inadvertently destructive. I merely think that Gears is loud and noisy and sometimes dear Alloy is inadvertently destructive. I mean, it's one or the other.
I see. But even though we don't intend to be these things, we are these things. So this might be something it might be something special that should be kept to just frogs.
Well, I suppose that's the case. I just know that you quite enjoy this. I just know that you quite enjoy this sort of thing, and I didn't want to deny it to you just because of your unfortunate size, Miss Tarantula.
These things happen, Humphrey. But please do let the Frog King know that should the Frog King ever feel like visiting us, we would be delighted to be host to His Highness.
No. He is. It is merely his bodaciousness. It's more of a musical title, you understand.
I see. And his bodacity, if you will.
Yes.
Excellent. Still, please, do pass on our regards and our invitation. In fact, and I'll yell up into the tree, Gears.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that can we record sound up there?
I toss down, toss something to someone. So I'm going to toss down What would my sound recorder look like?
Gears has just beaten Edison at inventing the sound, the wax cylinder sound
Yeah.
recording.
It's got to be a hat.
I think it's a boot. I think I toss a boot down.
Oh, you're branching out
I'm branching
yeah.
Okay. One of these days it's just going to be Gears haberdashery and furnishings.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my electric tie. So you toss a boot down.
Say something into it. Count to 10 and it echoes back.
Okay. Does it record things though?
Does it record things though?
Like it does for 10 seconds.
Like it does for 10 seconds.
Need a little longer than 10 seconds here, Gears.
A little longer than 10 seconds here, Gears.
How long you need?
I look at Humphrey. How long is the Frog King's performance?
Oh, well, we don't know. Do any of your folks stop singing before the dawn breaks? That is basic practice for frog performances.
I raise both eyebrows at this and say, Humphrey, I am impressed by his bodaciousness, his longevity. Most of our musicians, they play for an hour at most. They don't sing until dawn or whenever they decide to stop singing. They sing for a few minutes and then they stop.
And he gives a very proud ribbit and says, yes, that is why I've never really taken to human music.
I can absolutely understand why. Sadly, wait a moment. Gears?
Wait a minute. I'm working on something. I think I got this.
What happens?
Yeah, what?
Do we see like red lights or anything?
No. I think you get a glimpse of me daisy chaining these echo boots. I'm working on a boot powered sound loop, and the audio diminishes as it goes from boot to boot.
Gears, that hat that you the hat that you made.
Oh yeah,
The one that you can talk into
yeah,
and that like you can hear through my hat.
yeah.
Yeah, can you toss that down?
It's silent for too long, and then it falls from the tree. I'm gonna get that back, right?
I talk into it just to double check and say, Humphrey, this is a very unusual hat. It can transmit sound. So if the Frog King, if you can place this...
Oh, all hats don't do that. I had assumed that was why you wore them.
No, Gears is working on that. Gears has many things that he's working on. But this hat will transmit sound back to this hat. So if you take that hat with you and place it close to the Frog King, we can actually hear the concert.
Tabitha, you noticed that you left your hat with Gears.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Is Gears listening to this and like, do I hear the Gears yelling up in the treehouse?
You hear like a high-pitched squeal, like a mic check that's gone wrong for a second.
Right.
And then you hear, I think that gets the two-way audio working. Hello.
Gears?
Hey, it's working.
Okay, well, just so you know, I'm giving this hat to Humphrey for a little bit. Humphrey's going to go place it near the Frog King for the Frog King's concert this evening, so we can hear it. And then Humphrey, you'll bring it back, right?
Oh, I will do my best. It is quite big. I suppose I could kind of use it as a boat, I suppose.
Gears, do you have a smaller one of these?
I mean, I got 1 minute.
You got one for Sparks?
And I think as you're saying
Crap.
this, like Humphrey is just like drifting down away on one of the canals on the hat.
Yes.
Oh, I'm off. I'm off, dear. I shall be seeing you soon, Miss Tarantula. Until next time.
And I shrug and climb back up the ladder. Say, never mind, as I get to the top.
Here, try this. Talk into this boot. Talk into this boot. Talk into this boot. Talk into this boot. Talk. It keeps going forever, 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 forever.
That is really something. And, you know, we might actually be able to use that one of these days if we need to stage a heist, you know, in the market or something like that, like we're going in for a big scale heist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just plant these everywhere.
I'm going to count to 10. I'm going to count to 10. It'll be great. They won't know who's counting to 10.
Confusing as all get it if they yell something near it.
Right. They'll think they're over there.
Yeah. Or like if they yell, I saw them over here.
That is the phrase.
And think about all the ways that's going to echo, and people are just going to be like, where? Here. Where? Here.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is my best invention yet.
It very well could be. I am kind of sad that we couldn't get Alloy to go see the Frog King's concert tonight, though.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure something out, but this seems like the best option. Also, your hat's now floating in the sewer. I hope you're okay with that.
What?
Did I say something? Never mind.
Oh, are you telling Gears about all his clothes that accidentally threw into the river? I'm sorry about that. Alloy calls up.
Where have you been?
Oh, I was finding out about how I smell.
You smell like smoke.
I know. I say that really knowingly, as if that makes sense.
I'll just kind of nod a little bit and then say, hey, you feel like dancing?
I kind of lean into you and say, Tabitha Tarantula, I always feel like dancing.
And as one of my growth moves, I'm going to summon some rain that is just happy and lighthearted because, you know, I've spent all that time talking with Humphrey, trying to figure out a way to get Alloy to be able to listen to the Frog King's concert tonight. And now Alloy and are dancing. And this actually is one of my desires, dancing in a downpour.
Mm. Can we say that the broadcast has begun of
Yeah.
the Frog King?
Yeah, and maybe this happy dancing rain is just like a percussive element to follow it. Or to accompany it.
And I deploy the umbrella and enjoy the broadcast and the dancing and the rain.
I ain't nothing but a bullfrog.
Mm-hmm.
That's worst Elvis impression I know.
I felt like it was the best Frog Elvis impression.
Yeah, okay, good.
But
there we go.
You know, neither Impressions is a particularly good Throg who is easily the best Thor of all the Thors. There is literally a frog called Throg, which carries Mjolnir, or at least a chip off Mjolnir, and becomes Thor because this frog has a heroic heart. So
It reminds me of the extremely non-canon within the Marvel canon, Dog Thor. Dog Thor universe,
Dog Thor?
or is it Cat Thor? Like
In
yes,
Squirrel Girl.
yes, in Squirrel Girl, yes, she has. Yeah,
Stephen, I super puffy heart that you know about Nancy's like non-canon illustrations of Cat Thor and Lokitin and so forth. That gladdens my heart because Squirrel Girl is one of my favorite comics and also one of my favorite comic characters. So, but yeah, very much like that. Also, if you like that, you should check out Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers.
Mm-hmm. But I actually feel like if we're ending on this kind of musical, like this dancing in the rain, as we're listening to frogs sing, like this actually might be a good moment to end our session a bit early tonight on that.
I think it's a beautiful scene.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we've done a lot of stuff. David has a lot of hooks to come back to next week. Nothing really bad happened or anything like that. So, it's like it's a good way to pick up. Maybe find out what David was putting into the treehouse, as well as what Damien was stealing from the market.
Yeah. So let's thanks everyone for watching. I had a lot of fun tonight. We'll be doing some stars and wishes off camera, but I look forward to playing with everyone again, the whole group, finally for the first time of like full play next week. See y'all.